Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. In the name of love. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Baby, I'm a fireball. Fireball.
This is my 40th anniversary in leather. My sir picked me on July 1st, 1974 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he's 85 years old now, and he made me remember that. He's as sharp as a tack. We all use the term now, old guard, old school. We called it leather. It was, I don't know where the term old guard, old school, whatever. And please don't call me an elder. I'm not a deacon in a church. Amen. Thank you. And I'm not old, okay? I'm not old. I'm maturing like fine wine. And I get better as I get older. Would you know?
I totally.
I'm going to give you 40 years in like 5 minutes. Because I don't want this to be about me. I've sat at enough events over the last 40 years where people talk and talk and talk, and they give you their entire autobiography, and you end up falling asleep. I don't want that. I want this to be about you, because I know you all have questions about the way things were before. And there was a before, and I tend to call it before HIV. And that's where you have your big changes. The one thing I want to say right now to the leather women, when all those men were getting sick and dying within weeks, and they were being abandoned not only by their family, but a lot of times by their lovers. And a lot of times the leathermen would walk away because they were frightened, because they had the same thing. They were also getting sick, but they didn't want to deal with somebody else who had it. Guess who picked up the slack? The women. I have... You ladies, I'm speaking specifically to the ladies out here, I don't know what I would have done without you. I don't know where I would have been without you helping me. Because for some odd reason, I never got the virus. So I got stuck taking care of everything. My 4 brother boys all died of AIDS. The slave died of AIDS. It's only me left, me and Sir. The 3 dog boys are still alive because they weren't allowed to play with humans. Back then they were called dog boys, now they're called puppies. When I started calling them dog boys, they would get offended. People now get offended when I say dog boys. They were either called dog boys, humanimals, or manimals. Of course, people look at me now like, what the hell are you talking about? But that's what they were called. A brief history on leather people. When guys were into leather back then, they were also bikers. My sir was a biker. His friends were all bikers. And they greeted each other, usually outside the bar, by pissing on each other's bikes. That was a greeting. And if somebody got a new bike, they pissed on the bike. Everybody went to that one new bike and ruined it. If they had an argument or a disagreement, they beat the shit out of each other. They didn't do the politically correct stuff that they do now. And then usually afterwards they had sex. And I've seen that outside in the back of the bar. But if you attacked one of them, you attacked all of them. And there wasn't, well, I'm going to get an attorney, and I'm going to go on Facebook, and I'm going to, no. They went out and they kicked the shit out of you and left you in the street. I've seen that. Back then there were more families than I see now. And my favorite story, which really is hot, I wasn't allowed to partake because I was the baby. the older boys would get together with Sir and all the other families in New York, and they would get together, and all the boys would wrestle each other naked. The boy who won got to serve all the Sirs in the way he wanted. So whatever the boy wanted from all the Sirs, the boy got. And of course, I couldn't because I was a scrawny little 20-year-old kid. And Sir said, they'll kill you. And I'm not letting anybody touch you. That's what saved me, because the other boys weren't allowed to have sex with me. And I would be dead because they all died. They all had AIDS. I'm the vice president of the Leather Heart Foundation. I am the founder of the Leathertarian Award, which Bruce sits on the panel. And I chose him, but I do not choose the winners. I do not know who the winners are before anybody else. It's a cash award of $500 for each male and female, and $1,000 for the lifetime achievement. You do not have to pay for anything. I modeled it after the Nobel Prize. People in the community pick the people, send the emails into them, they do the research, they pick out the winner. I only man the website, and I put up their biographies. It's the leathertarianaward.com. And most of you at the Leather Heart Foundation, I've been their vice president for 3 years. It is an organization, it's a foundation that gives money. We give money. We have cases right now, a guy with a scooter had the scooter stolen, he's in the community. We're giving him a new scooter. We're paying for it. You can't pay your rent. Your daddy threw you out. Your boy stole your money. We help you. You need rent money. You need money for your HIV. We provide that for a month. We pay the person directly. Your utility bills. Anything that you can think of. We give out food cards. You're short on food? We'll give you $200 food stamp, food card, a Visa, that you can go to any store, CVS, pharmacy, whatever it is you need. You have to document everything. The caseworkers get it. They're sworn to secrecy. We do not know who the people are. And if we happen to know who they are, we bow out. We totally bow out of the picture because we want to keep it open, transparent. Our president is Kiki Cabanero. Her girl, Jezebel, does the website. I'm their VP. We have a board of directors that's diverse across the country. As is the Leathertarian Award, we have transgender, male, female, straight, gay. So it's not that you say, well, there are gay people on it, not straight. There's all straight people on it, not gay. We have a mixture of everything. Now I'll get back to my 40 years in 2 minutes. I've had the pleasure of meeting Tom Finley. I want to tell you that story because it's really fun. I was a skinny little boy in his late 20s. Was it 20? Could have been early 30s. And I was in New York City. It was a beautiful day to go to the beach, so I went to the beach. Tom Finley was signing his first book. I saw it was 4 o'clock. I ran in my beach clothes from the beach, got in the car, drove all the way to New York to a different bookstore. It was a line of leathermen, all in leather, in 120 degrees with no air conditioning. I get on the end of the line. They're all making fun of me. They're all looking at me like I have 3 heads. I wasn't sweating. I was very comfortable. I get up to Tom, and he looks at me, and he goes, "You're not in leather." And I said, "Well, no, sir, I'm not in leather. It's too hot." He goes, "I like that. You're not trying to impress me." He took me out to dinner. I spent the next 3 hours with him. The guys were looking at me like they wanted to take me out back and kill me.
Well, they did.
No, actually they didn't. I was with Tom. So I stayed in the store, and he's like, "I don't know, your New York summers are terrible. You need to come to Finland." I says, "Well, Mr. Tom," I said, "that would be great." No, Mr. Tom. Call me Tom." Signed my book, took me out. We had a wonderful time. And he's like, "I don't know what's wrong with these people. Why do they try to impress me with leather? It's hot. You're the only one that came in here making any sense." I had a wonderful conversation about him and his lover. And I got to ask him questions that are probably not even in any of his books. Why did you make these books? Why did you have guys with penises down to their ankles and rosebuds the size of the earth and all these? I said, "They're not real." And he said to me, "Well, I did it because I love the male body and I wanted to exaggerate it. I just didn't think anybody would take me seriously." Well, they did. And now everybody wants to either look like that, the young men like looking like that, or they pump their penises and do all these things to make themselves look like the caricatures. But he never meant them to be real. He was a magnificent man. I had the pleasure of being in Act Up with Larry Kramer when AIDS started because my brothers were sick. I've been lucky enough to have been on the board of directors for different organizations. Gay Friends and Neighbors of New York, which was in Brooklyn. The NAMES Project, Brooklyn Liaison. I worked for the Gay Community Center. I was one of the first that worked with the gay men's health crisis. I was always involved in volunteerism because my sir always told me service is its own reward. A thank you is good enough, and if I don't get that, the work that I'm doing was good enough because I knew I was making a difference in people's lives. Protocol was very important back then. It's different now. I'm not saying which is better or worse, it's just different. There were more families. People were connected to each other by families. There was a lot of sex. Everybody was having sex with everybody. I mean, which unfortunately is what caused so many of them to pass on because nobody knew what it was. I enjoyed the structure. I needed that because I was studying for my master's and then my PhD in my first go-around. I'm studying for my second PhD now in gender diversity because I want to go back to work and teach college. I want to bring gender diversity because we're fluid. Gender is fluid. There's the very masculine that starts with a male and it ends at the very feminine with a female. But there's all the points in between. And we varied from point to point to point. People that say, well, I'm totally masculine, I need to be with totally masculine men all of the time. I don't believe it. We vary. Sometimes we want to be cuddled. The most masculine guy wants to be cuddled, wants to be affectionate, not just have rough sex. Nobody wants to have rough sex 24 hours all of the time, every time. Some people want to be held sometimes. So sex is on a continuum, and that's why I'm studying gender diversity. I noticed, though, in the leather community there was a change with HIV. Everybody before that tended to be thin, in shape, and then all of a sudden the muscles, the big bodies, the beefy look. And that's when women started getting discriminated against. In the early days, they weren't. I used to go to the mine shaft, the anvil, the ramrod. I'm thinking of the early places now. I'm winging it, as you can tell. I have no notes. Manhole. Yeah, jump in. This is the conversation. Hellfire. I did all those things. Women were allowed. I used to see Carol there. Nobody threw her out. She's a tough broad, that woman. And guys loved having her around. And she wanted to learn from the gay men. And I was a student back then. I was the boy, so I never had any say in anything. And when I'd go to the anvil and the mine shaft, the things that were going on, I learned very quickly. And I used to dance at Studio 54, and I used to dance at the Saint. I used to be one of the flag dancers. And I used to get in my little, as we say in Italian, putana shorts, and little tiny white shorts that showed everything, including my race, religion, and creed. And I used to get up there and do my flagging, and that's how Steve Rebell met me from Studio 54, and I used to go in there. He'd say, we need some more gay men in here, come in. And I never used to have to pay. It's been such an interesting ride. I've met such wonderful people. I helped get the gay rights bill passed in New York City in March of 1986. Andy Hum, Vito Russo, Tom Stoddard. I had the pleasure of knowing all these people. I met Tony DeBlaze before there was a Leather Pride flag. My sir was in the first IML when there was no flag. There was he was in his friend Lenny, who was a biker, who passed away in '93. He took every photograph of every single Pride parade in New York from the first. So you get to see all these guys that were in the hippie revolution at that point. And to see them marching up, I know, right? From the village to Central Park. Now they start on Fifth Avenue and march down to the village. Right. I have my own AIDS memorial These are all my friends that died. Each star is a death. And I didn't want to forget them. And I've outlived them by decades. But I needed to have them there because I'm the only one left. And this is the boys with the slave right here, so that I'm constantly looking at them. And that was my best friend. I used to call him Black Michael because he was ebony black. And he was this big bodybuilder, and toward the end he weighed like 100 pounds. And these two guys were lovers. He passed away in '92 and he died in 2010. And I've been privileged enough to know all these men. And at the same time sad because I've been treated for PTSD. Although I've never been in the service, but I've been through a war. And you go through the Survivor's Guild. Why? Why didn't I even get it? What the hell's wrong with me? I thought there was something wrong with me. I used to get tested every month because I wondered why I didn't get it, why I was still left. But obviously there was a reason. Maybe this is part of it. Leather in the 90s was very interesting because I used to go to the GMSMA meetings in New York. I met a wonderful master and we went to this little cafe after one of the meetings in Gainesville. The cafe is still there, but he had 3 slaves with him. And he said to me, "Is there anything you require?" And I said, no. I want my boys to be at your service. I said, "All 3 of them?" He was like really surprised. So I said, no, I'm fine, sir. Thank you very much. He said, "Do you know what I've learned over the years?" I said, "No, sir. Please share it." This blew me. It still blows my head when I repeat it. He says, "You know what? A good sir is the slave to his boy's needs." I just looked at him. I said, "He's a slave to his boy's needs?" Think about it. You give the boy what he wants, he'll do anything you want. You serve that boy without letting him know you're serving him, you got him. And if you fuck his head, his body will follow. I never forgot that. I think of all the MALs I started going to in 1994 when it was called the Centaurs Leather Weekend, and Al Santoro was there. And that's when I saw a real change in leather. I would say the mid-90s. It started to change in the fact that people were like, "Oh, go fuck this. I don't want to do the protocol. Fuck this protocol. I'm going to make it up as I go along." Okay. So you don't want to do anything. You old fucking guys, please, you guys know nothing. Okay, fair enough. You know, because you're not going to change someone's mind. There's no point in making someone believe something. The only thing you can do is be a model for how you conduct yourself. And that's how I am. I don't want anyone to believe what I say. You can see how I am by my behavior. And to me, that's what's important. And if you think you like that behavior, then you're always free to come and ask me how I was raised. I was raised a certain way. And I don't expect it to be the same. I don't expect people to feel the same way. I don't even see it the way Sir used to say, "Boy, he should be standing here right now." He was very, very strict. Remember, the old leather, and I prefer calling it old than old guard, but that leather from back then became a standard based from World War II.
Yep.
Those men were married with wives. You couldn't be gay. You couldn't have sex with men overtly. So you had a wife. And you passed the girl around to the other men while you watched her having sex with men when you wanted to have sex with the men. But you couldn't. So they beat each other up. That was the way of physical contact. I saw a lot of wrestling with those leather men. No sex. But I remember when I was 20, 21 years old, Sir happened to be one of the progressives that was out. I can remember going to those leather bars, those skeezy, skanky bars, and it was friggin' hot, but those men did not touch each other. I never saw affection unless they grab each other by the back of the neck and slap each other. When I got my cover, perfect example, we have these elaborate things for cover. I said, you know what I got my cover? We were up in Massachusetts, in South Boston. And he took me after my birthday. There was a terrible snowstorm. And I said, sir, on my 40th, I said, well, why are we going up here? It's freezing. It's even colder here than in New York. Well, you know, we need to get away from the city. Okay, whatever sir wants, even to this day. If he wanted to, for lack of a better expression, if he wanted to fuck me, he could. He's the last person that was back there in 1982, and nobody's been in there since. And if he wanted me today, he could do it. He's the only man that I would let in there. God bless him if he could. As I said, he's 85. But we got up to Boston, and we went to this bar, Fritz. And there was a store 2 blocks away or a block away. And I said, what are you? I said, sir, why are we walking in a 2 feet of... We need to go to this place. It's a nice little leather store. I followed him. I did what he wanted. I loved him. So, and this was long after I was not with him anymore. He says, what size hat are you? He grabs this. He sticks it on my head. He goes, oh, that'll do. I said, that'll do. So he takes it off, and he adds the chain, and he twists the chain purposely. So I said, I don't understand. I had never seen a covering. I did not know what it is. Those things that the men did with each other were not for the boys to see. It was just for the men, quote unquote. So he says, here, it's yours. And he gets on one knee and he goes, don't ever fucking expect me to get on my knee again for you. He says, and I'm calling you this once. Sir, this is yours. It's up. I said, what do you mean? I had no clue. He goes, don't ever fucking touch the brim or I'll smash your face in.
Yeah.
He says, grab it by the sides and put it on your stupid head and try to look good with it on. This is the way I got treated.
That was my ma'am too.
I'm like, what the hell is this? He said, you were just covered. I said, covered? I feel like I was just roasted, for Christ's sake. So we got back, and I started wearing it, and I'm like, well, I feel stupid. In plain English, I just feel stupid wearing this. Because by this point, leather had changed so much from what I knew. And I started seeing all these elaborate, you know, incantations and candles and people going into dark places, and you know, I'm expecting Merlin to come out any second. Really, I'm expecting Merlin to come out. And I'm like, what is this? What are you doing? Well, we're having a silent covering.
A silent covering.
I'm like, what? So, and then came the collars. Collar of consideration, engagement collar.
Protection collar.
Protection collar.
Collar protection.
Temporary collar for the weekend. And I'm like, honey, you're either pregnant or you're not. You're collared or you're not. I swear, I went to one of the MALs, I swear to you. I walk in this guy's room. He's got 15 collars laid out on the table. I bust out laughing. I said, you have 15 boys? So he goes, oh no. He says, I give these out when I want to get laid, and I give it to them as a keepsake. I said, Jesus Christ, if they want a souvenir, let them go to the fucking Empire State Building. I said, you give them a collar as a souvenir? I thought, has leather changed that much?
Sounds true.
Yes, it has.
No.
And it's up to us to pass it down. I don't give a shit whether they want to hear it or not. They need to hear it. You make up your own mind the way we did, but you need to hear it. Take with the information what you want, but don't tell me I can't preach it, because I'm going to preach it. You don't want to hear it? Fine. You want to wear 16 collars because you got the collar protection from this one, you got the engagement collar from this one? Oh, oh, here's another one. By the way, who's your master? Well, I'll just give a name out off the top of my head. Master Andre. I'll say, oh, well, who trained him? Oh, he was never trained. He was never trained to be a master. Oh no, we just play as we go along. I said, so no one ever covered? What do you mean covered him? He's not covered. What does that mean? He's covered. I'm like, when his peers have bestowed upon him the title of master. Oh no, he picked that off the rack in the store. I'm like, well, this wasn't picked off the rack. The sir chose this one. He said, you had a sir? How could you be a top and have that? I said, I'm not a top. What do you mean you're not a top? You like to fuck? I'm not a top. I'm a leather jacket. I'm a sir. I'm not a master. No one's ever bestowed that. So I will never call myself. Well, where's your slaves? I says, I'm not a master. I don't have slaves. Wait a minute, but you said you had boys. I said, yeah, I have boys. I don't have slaves. Well, what's the difference? I says, well, to put it succinctly, they both wear collars, but the slave has a tight leash. The boy is let loose much more than the slave. Slaves have much. Oh, well, I'm not doing that. I'm a slave, and you're not going to tell me what to do. Yeah, we have lots of work to do. We have lots of work.
Honey, please.
Another subject which gets me in a lot of trouble. This gets me in a lot of trouble. But you know what? I don't give a fuck. Titles. Titles do not make you. You make the title.
Yes, sir.
You can win a title, but if you travel around the country, fuck, take selfies, and give people attitude because you're so much better looking and younger with a tight butt, no. No, no, no.
That's what you're gonna be known as.
I know one title holder, and who shall remain nameless. National. He, to get his name in a newspaper article, he did an interview saying that he was taking prep. Never took it. Lied to do the article. That's a disgrace to the title.
Should be stripped.
Absolutely. To take HIV and use it for your fucking gain? National, not local. And I believe you know. That's all I'm saying.
I know a whole lot of them.
I know, but I know you know him. Fucking, taking selfies and traveling is not working for the community. Now, yes, fuck, great. Do it all. Do 20 men at a time. But do something to make that title worth you winning it. That's all I have to say about that. I believe in the people who have titles who've done something. Bruce has been breaking his ass all these years and he won a title. You never hear him say, oh, I was Mr. So-and-so in 1846. I had no choice. I had to.
You look great.
It's the dad and yogurt.
I think when people take their titles because they have a platform and do something important, I'm the first one. I'm all there. I am all there with you. But if all you do is travel and have sex, you don't need to win a title to do that. I've been doing that for 40 years. I never won a title. I founded the Leatheritarian Award. Never won a title. Vice President Leatherheart, never won. They didn't pick me because I won a title, and they didn't pick me because I'm gorgeous. They picked me because I break my ass, in plain English. Because in the leather community, if you're family with all these people from all over the country, you break your ass. Mama Sandy, my mama,
Yes,
I am
indeed.
her Buddhist boy. I'm still her boy. When I see her, I get down on my knees. And everybody, sir, what are you doing? I said, she deserves
Exactly.
that.
Very true.
But sir, I said, but sir,
There is no
nothing.
but.
Learn something. She is my mentor. And do you know when she wanted to pin me for 5 years, I wouldn't take it. She says, you need to fucking talk to me, boy. I said, what's the matter? She says, you're taking a fucking pin whether you like it or not. I said, Mama, I'm in your... No, you gotta have the pin. She says, people fight for this pin and you won't take it. In fact, Lady D was there at SCCC. We were at the Trident Nights run. She told her, she says, I know Jim is at that run. You make sure he's got that goddamn pin. So I went to, I said, Lady D,
Right. Look,
look,
look.
tell her I'm wearing it. And that's how the pin stayed on my vest.
Right.
And my vest is over there, and I'd like to pass it around because a lot of the groups no longer exist. And a lot of the men who gave me those pins have died of AIDS. And I think it's important for you to see that because it gives you a history of so much of what we don't have anymore. We've lost so much. And I don't want to lose any. I want to have a continuity. And I'd like for you to ask me questions. I mean, I don't want to say, this isn't about me. This really is not about me. You have to have questions about what happened then, or did you see this, or did you do that? I was Sir's fisting bottom. I did whatever he wanted. And I never used drugs. And I never cheated on him. I never went behind his back and did anything. I had 4 other boys to play with if I wanted to, provided he allowed me. And then there were the 3 dogs I'd get on the floor with. And one last story. MAL, maybe 2000, 1999. It was around that period. I was going all by myself. I think it was right after my father died. And he didn't want me to go alone. He says, I have something waiting for you at the hotel because MAL was right around my birthday. He says, consider it a birthday gift. These 3 big German men, blonde, 6'3" short. The front desk, Jim Gigliello, please come to the front desk. Did I do something wrong? I always think when it came to him, I did something wrong. Go to the front desk, there's 3. Can I help you? Sir, we're yours for the weekend. What? What do you mean you're mine? Sir Paul sent us to you to keep an eye on you. I said, no, sir, you're staying with you, and that's why you got a suite. Oh, so what does that mean? We're yours. I said, what do you mean? What does that mean? I was like, are you serious? What does that mean? Well, sir, anything you want. Well, honey, I took that friggin' train and ran with it. I ran with that train. Those men were fucking gorgeous. Thankfully, they're all still around. And I had, in fact, there were people at MAL that remember this, that wherever I walked, these 3 hulking men, they look like redwoods next to me. I'm not a big guy, and these guys are huge. And that's the way we also walked in the family. The 3 dog boys were on the outside. The boys were always to the right. Sir was here. And it used to be that we walked behind them. Except, this is going to maybe offend some people, but I used to go Heil Hitler behind him because he was a German Jew. And I used to clink my feet. Zig ha, and I used to go like this while we're walking down the street. Here I am, 22 years old, and I said, he's going to kill me. So he goes, you know what, you little prick, you're walking in front of me from now on because I need to see what you do. So he broke his own protocol because the boy always walked to the right and 2 steps behind.
Yeah.
Not with me. We walked in front.
That's why you confuse me when you
We had to
maybe
walk
get
in
on the
front. So I changed his protocol because I was a little prick. I did lots of things to him. He says, even to this day, that I gave him all the gray hair he has, and I said, no, sir, you're gray because you got old. And you would sit down. That's what I do. I would either take a nylon stocking that I'd have to go buy at a discount store, because obviously I don't wear those. But I'd have to take the nylon stockings and I'd go like this, and we spit a lot on the boots. And we used babies' diapers 40 years ago. Not t-shirts. T-shirts have too much lint. And if the wax on the boot sticks, the lint from the damn t-shirt, oh
All
shit,
over,
you
yeah.
have a Dalmatian in your hands, black and white, it's like, it doesn't work.
Right.
Diapers tend to have less. If you didn't have that, newspaper. They would use the newspaper, they would double the newspaper and roll it up. Not as thick as to hit like when you correct a dog, like to roll it maybe 2 or 3 times and do it like this, because the black print sometimes would fill in some of the little scratches.
Oh man. That's cool.
See, people don't do that anymore, but that's what we do. So I remember doing a boot black class in my house. And that's what I do. I use my house to have people come out. That's what we did 40 years ago. We didn't have to go to a bar and spend $50 on drinks.
Yeah.
I'd buy some beer, take out my boot black kit, doesn't cost you a dime. That's what leather was. And Bruce will always say this, we need to get back to our roots. I'm so with him. And I don't mean we need to do things the way we did 40 years ago. I don't mean that. But we need to get back,
To basics.
to the basics,
To the basics.
of the respect,
Honor.
honor,
Loyalty.
Integrity.
Integrity. That's correct.
That bothers me so much.
Yeah.
The integrity.
Video has been copyrighted and produced by Love Enterprises. Love Enterprises is the property of the Lady D Leather family. To order a copy of this video, contact us at loveenterprises@gmail.com. Congratulations.